It's the Arsenal show. We are live. I'm joined by Steve K. How you doing, Steve? Slightly under the weather?
Yeah, a little bit, mate. A little bit, mate. First thing you say when you're a bloke, didn't you? And like you start talking like with your nose, but first, well, man flu. You got man flu.
I don't want to hear it. Flu
Man
is flu. Flu is flu. Yeah.
Flu is
you
flu.
don't know. I'm never ill, but when flu hits, it hits different. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in your eyes. You can't look at the light. You're not hungry. You're hot. You're cold. Everything. And then people want to call it man flu. Honestly, don't do that to me. I'm trying to watch Steve.
trying to watch the TV, like, and you're squinting, didn't you? What's that on the telly there? I can't see it properly.
However, this is definitely a cold, people. This is definitely a cold. It's not flu. Steve is not breaking down with flu.
No. Happy Halloween, everybody out there.
Happy Halloween, yeah.
Happy Halloween.
About Halloween, look, it's all a bit of fun, yeah. But literally, I couldn't get to the top of my stairs without having to come back down to give these little strokes a sweet. And I turned around, all right, sweet. Next one, go to put my coat up. Got no, ding, 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 ding. Next one, I nearly grabbed some kid's hand. I was like, "Nah, you got to calm down, kid." It's like, chill out. Right?
Oh yeah.
Remember you was young. Remember you was young.
We know. Anyway, look, it's especially an happy Halloween to Chelsea and Man United fans because they've had a nightmare weekend, and it's definitely a horror show. And
look, I would say I hate to bask in the misery of Manchester United and especially Chelsea, but that would be a massive lie. When I saw Chelsea's 2-0 loss, in fact, I thought it was just 1-0, and then I didn't see the second goal. I was watching the first goal. I was like, "Oh, mate, it's over." And then they scored a late goal. Couldn't have been happier. But then to compile it with Manchester United's misery, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to be here, but playing Lindelof at left back is a surefire way to get you the boot pretty quickly. But anyway, on to more important things, and that is the Arsenal's emphatic 5-0 victory against Sheffield United this weekend. Felt like it added to the win against Sevilla in the week in the Champions League, and it feels like Arsenal turned the corner. A lot more fluid performance, and yes, okay, it was against bottom of the league, but we're the first team this season to absolutely demolish Sheffield United. And there's been a lot of comparisons, which we're going to very soon. Let's look at some positives. First of all, Steve, Eddie Nketiah getting his hat-trick.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of criticism, but one thing he doesn't do is hide. He always works hard, and it was good to see Eddie get those goals this weekend and get some credit for the hard work that he's put in.
Oh, yeah, definitely, mate. I mean, and... You know, you're right. I mean, it's so well deserved. I think, that's why, a lot of Arsenal fans, especially Mikel Arteta, loves him. He just loves what he gives. He's 100% all the time. Even when he's not scoring goals, he's he's always working hard. And he does get unfair criticism, and I don't know why. And I don't know why there ain't many. You take Alvarez of Man City out of the equation. There ain't many second strikers out there than Eddie Nketiah. I struggle to think of one, off the top of my head, where you've got a striker and a second one. I'm telling you what, Chelsea and Man United, we was just talking about, they would love Eddie Nketiah. They'd pay big money for Eddie Nketiah.
We'll definitely get to on in a second, Steve, because that was actually one thing that came out yesterday. In fact, let's get onto it now. Tim Sherwood came out yesterday and said Manchester United could do with an Eddie Nketiah. You tell me Eddie Nketiah wouldn't get into the Manchester United team right now. He's an upgrade from Højlund. And a lot of people in the comment section were in uproar, were laughing at Tim Sherwood. But I even done a video on it and basically said, no, it's a fact. No matter what you think Højlund could become, right now, Eddie Nketiah is a better striker than Rasmus Højlund, and that's a fact. There's no two ways about it. That's a stone cold. If we want to go on stats, he's a better striker. If we want to go on who's a more right now, he's a better striker. There's no two ways about it. Like, I think that's I can understand if you don't like the style of Eddie Nketiah, if you don't think he's top end striker, I get that. But you've got to respect the kind of work that he puts in and what he does when he does play.
100%, mate. 100%. Look, I mean, I don't know what it is with him. I mean, he's someone who we've already said he works very hard, and it seems to be almost sort of like in fashion to sort of get on in Eddie Nketiah's back no matter what he does. But again, I go back. You mentioned Rasmus Højlund there. He'd walk into Manchester United's team now, absolutely walk into it. You know, I mean, if you're talking about Rasmus Højlund, who they've paid nearly £75 million for. I mean, come on. You know, if he's worth £75, I mean, Eddie Nketiah is worth 90, because Rasmus Højlund is not going to come in and score Manchester United goal. I don't think he's got a goal, is he, in the Premier League or in the Premier League?
He hasn't got a goal. And look, I like the look of Rasmus Højlund. He looks like he's strong, quick. But he's raw. He's raw. He's so raw. He's any young striker. He's like Eddie 3 seasons ago, young, hungry, but still, like, for instance, I was watching Rasmus Højlund in the game, and Bruno Fernandes was on the ball, and Rasmus Højlund's made a run in the wrong direction, and it was so obvious that he should have staggered his run and slipped off in the other way, and he left himself open for Fernandes. Those things Eddie has in his locker at the moment. Those things you can only gain by experience. Rasmus Højlund does not have that yet. I'm not saying that he does not have a higher bar, but I saw comments in there that said if Rasmus Højlund was playing for Arsenal, he'd be hitting Haaland numbers. I was just like, come on, what planet are you on? How overinflated do you think your players are? Man United's team right now is bang average. There's no nicer way to say it. Yeah, there's some decent players in there, but there's some horrific players in there. It's the most bang average Manchester United team I've ever seen. I've never seen a Man United team so poor. From the time I've ever supported football and started watching football, I've never seen a Manchester United squad so poor. You can point out the Varans, you can point out some of the big names, but on the face of it, and what in the cold light of day, Manchester United team is rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, look, they a lot of Man United fans, not all of them, but a lot, you know, were taking the mickey out of Eddie Nketiah last season, saying, "Oh, he's not good enough. Look who you've got as a second striker. He's not this. He's that." Well, this striker now as what he said, like he would walk into your team, absolutely walk into it easily. I mean, Ten Hag would give his, his eye teeth to have someone like in Eddie Nketiah. And look, as you said, Rasmus Højlund, he's a good player. There's something about him, but he's not. This is we keep hearing it. This is Manchester United. He's a 20-year-old kid who's come from Atlanta, who's raw, who's been said like come and do the business for us and get us up the table and end the era of Liverpool and Man Cities and things like this. And it's absolutely. He would absolutely. I think he would walk into Manchester United's team, and I totally agree. It is, and it's not banter at all. It's got to be the worst Manchester United team I have seen. I agree with you for as long as I can remember. Look, I said at the beginning of the season that I wasn't in the fact that all this Ten Hag's a great manager and all that. I said that he's nowhere near it. When others were saying that he's here, he's there, he's the great.
You're not sure. They're saying about him. Sure.
Yeah, and he's because it just goes without saying he's come from a very, very sort of inferior league, if you like, and he's not used to playing in the Premier League. And I think you're seeing things now from him that you're thinking, what? I don't think you know what you're doing, mate. And look, there's a lot of things that are not going his way. That's fair to say. There's a lot of that's going his way, but yeah, I mean, when you compare Manchester United with Arsenal, it's just night and day, isn't it? You know, absolutely night and day.
They got far too excited in pre-season when they beat us in that friendly.
Yeah, and one thing I will say as well, I keep hearing, we keep hearing that they comparing Ten Hag with Mikel Arteta. It's nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it. You know, and he said, "Oh, give Ten Hag a chance because it took Arteta this long, and you Arsenal fans wanted him to sack." Well, Arsenal, Arsenal fans did not want him to sack.
Yeah,
you know, if you're watching these certain fan cams, right, and then that's what you're doing, and people like Simon Jordan, who I've come to respect a little bit, and others, they slag off AFTV quite a lot, but you're obviously watching it a lot because that was the only place where they were saying it, because in our circles we certainly wasn't saying it.
Yeah.
But
and if you go to the stadium, they weren't saying it.
No way. And with Ten Hag, when he's coming, Arteta's job, yes, we finished 8th 2 league, but Arteta's, we had a shite team. Ten Hag's come in with he's got Casemiro and Rashfords and Fernandez's and all these apparently world-class players, which obviously they're not. They're nowhere near it. But Arteta come into an absolute rat hole of a football
2
club.
Seasons with Socrates, Mustafi in there.
Yeah.
He had to deal with the Ozil situation, the Guendouzi situation. There was so much that was happening there.
Aubameyang, wasn't it? Ozil.
Aubameyang, everything. He had to deal with so much. And some of the stuff, and a lot of the stuff that Ten Hag's had to deal with, he's putting himself. You didn't have to come out in the open, in the press, and say that Jadon Sancho was not training well. You could have done that in-house.
I don't like it. Don't like that.
Should have kept that in-house. You didn't have to sign Anthony, considering apparently Man United knew about some of the stuff that was going on with Anthony, but they still went ahead and signed that. I was speaking to Garth, and he's saying he has to be one of the biggest flops in the Premier League.
Garth, I've spoken to Garth as well. For anybody who don't know Garth out there, very, very level-headed Man United fan, says it as it is. But again, I've spoken to him, and he said the same thing to me. But again, there's this Jadon Sancho thing. It's so bad, so terribly dealt with. It's. I mean, I feel sorry for him a little bit. I feel sorry for him. He's a South London boy. I think he's from Camberwell. I think, or Greenwich, or around that. He's round that area. And he's got a look. And Ten Hag don't know how to deal with him, from what I can see. Okay, he's a little bit petulant and he has a little bit of a record on it. But Anthony is trash. He has been shite for about 18 months now. And if I'm Jadon Sancho, right, I am thinking to myself, why are you not playing me in front of him? Okay, I've not been doing the business. I've not been great. I'll hold my hands up. But I tell you what, I'm better than that.
Yeah.
And he is. And he is better than that. And Ten Hag dealt with it ridiculously.
And the difference is as well, which a lot of people aren't looking at. Arteta has done so much outside of the actual off the pitch. What is Ten Hag doing off the pitch? What is Ten Hag trying to build the community spirit of the Arsenal fans? He's trying to bring the Arsenal fans, the Man United fans, back together like Arteta did with the Arsenal fans? No, he's not. Is he trying to build some sort of unity amongst the squad like the Arteta is with the Arsenal club? No, he's not. He's not trying to build that sort of family. He's not. He's trying to be a disciplinarian. It's not comparable. It's an insult to compare Ten Hag and Arteta and try and say that based on the fact that Arteta has got where Arsenal are in 3 years, then Man United can or Chelsea can. Shocking.
Take
a look at what your club at what your club are doing before you try and point fingers about and try and compare it to what our club are doing, because you've done nothing close to what we've done.
Absolutely. The
speech that Arteta gave when he came into the club, there's a reason why he turned some arched skeptics. He turned them, and he made them sit up and listen. And go, oh wait, hold on a second. He's not just talking about the club. He's talking about the team. He's talking about bringing the fans and the players together. He's talking about bringing the club together closer to fans. He's talking about what Arsenal was and trying to bring back the good times, and not just winning trophies, but the unity that we all had and the pride that we all had in our club. This is completely different to what anyone else has put. Do you know what? I'm going to give this geezer a chance. Not heard that from Poch, although that's probably more what you hear from Poch, closer to what you hear from Poch. I rate Poch. So nothing close to what you hear from Ten Hag. That's not close to what you hear from Ten Hag.
He came in and said, "Oh, it's an end of an era for Liverpool and Manchester City, and we're back, and we're gonna smash them." Big and you're like, you're not Jose Mourinho, mate. Do you know what I mean? You haven't got to come and won titles and Champions Leagues, and
Mourinho it's won Champions League and Europa League, Europa Cup before he got to Chelsea.
Yeah,
and that was with Porto.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously hadn't done his own work, had he, on Manchester United before he come into the club. It seems to me, it does seem like it ain't just. There's a lot of other things going on.
There's a lot.
He was for me, I think he was the wrong choice. He was the wrong manager, right? But then again, I don't think the people who are above him, they're just as bad. They are just as bad to blame because they haven't got a clue. I keep telling Manchester United fans, I've said it to them for about a few years now, right? And I've said it. What you should do is go and get an unknown manager, an untried manager, and start from the beginning. Someone who's got a bit of someone who knows like British football or Premier League football, and get them in. Get a young manager in. And then build up, right? Don't start from start. If you finish 8th and 9th and 10th, just build it up. Bring the young players through. Do that, and that's what you look at Arteta. You look at Postecoglou at Tottenham doing a great job at the moment. Do you know what I mean? They take to him. The players have taken to him. They're on their wave level. It stands out a mile 10 that are going on the wave level with the Man United players.
Yeah.
It's like the personality. I mean, he bores the shite out to me. I don't even know what he's talking about, and I've heard others say the same. And it probably ain't his fault to an extent, because he's been asked to come from Manchester United from Ajax. He's not going to say no, is he? Do you know what I mean? And he's come in. So for that part of it, he's just not up to it. He's just not up to the standards of a Premier League manager. If he turns it round, then I'll take it back. But at the moment,
I think they've got. Go on.
No, I'm saying at the moment they had a good season last year, but then again, there was teams like Chelsea, Tottenham, Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? They had bad seasons last year. And I think they're getting into the Champions League was a little bit forced. Do you know what I mean? I think their position was a little bit false.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves with Chelsea. They're about.
Well, yeah, maybe not.
A 5-game run of teams, which includes Tottenham, Newcastle, Manchester City.
Yeah, that's a bit nightmarish, isn't
it? Yeah, they've got a stinking run. We're about to turn this into a Manchester United podcast. We'll get Steve on next Monday and make sure we've got Garth on next Monday for a little Man United podcast. Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
But on top of that, no, it was because we was talking about Eddie Nketiah and people comparing him to Rasmus Højlund and basically laughing at Tim Sherwood's comments about the fact that he said that Eddie Nketiah is a better striker than Rasmus Højlund, and Man United could do with Eddie Nketiah right now.
But that's just one. But that's one thing. Like if Rasmus Højlund's coming to I'm not saying he's going to score. I mean, but he would be a better player at Arsenal if he came in. But one thing he wouldn't be. He wouldn't even get. He wouldn't be in the starting 11. He'd be a squad player.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what he would be. I mean, he wouldn't even be on Mikel Arteta's radar. Wouldn't be on his radar. So where Ten Hag's got him, and he's a target man for someone in a team that with players that can't cross the ball. You know, to sort of benefit or you know, fire balls into him. I mean, you know, again, talking to United fans, you know, talking to Garth, he'll turn man. He said none of our players can cross the ball. You know, and where's Ten Hag's thinking? You know, they had Amrabat playing the other day. You know, the guy who they brought in to give you legs and Casemiro, half time they take him off. It just doesn't make no sense. It's mad, mate. It's mad. Enough about them anyway.
It is mad. But like I said, we'll make sure we do a pod next Monday, and we'll get a couple of Man United fans to discuss their demise at the moment. Next, another thing that people have pointed out, I'll pull up a clip because I saw this clip, and yes, it's AFTV, but a lot of people are talking this way at the moment about Smith Rowe.
Probably picked that fixture, and I just don't think James is right. He wasn't bad. He wasn't giving the ball away, and he got sent off. It wasn't bad. But I just thought to myself, come on, bro. There's a slot opening for you. You got to grab that game and be the guy that we're talking about afterwards. The way we're chatting about Eddie Nketiah, that's how we should be talking about Emile Smith Rowe. 2 assists, 1 goal, ran the game. And I just feel it's not the final chance for him, but I just felt that it's an opportunity missed.
Now, I was quite surprised because that's not the only place I've seen it. There's a lot of places online. Jamie Carragher also came out and said feels that Emile Smith Rowe potentially probably needs to move on from Arsenal to get more game time. Me myself, I saw it as a player who has only had 2 starts in the last about 18 months, been out with injury for about 5 months, had to try and win his place back after getting back to full fitness and match fitness in a title challenging Arsenal team that Mikel Arteta really didn't change too much of the full personnel, especially in that last running for the title. And quite early on in this season, has had 2 starts in the cup, or 1 in the cup, 1 in the league. And I thought it was a player who was trying to just sort of play his way into a game and just maybe a bit overly cautious, but I do think a lot of the comments on Emile Smith Rowe are quite harsh. What's your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I actually missed the beginning of that. I couldn't hear it. It was it went mute on me, but I get the gist. I get the gist of it. Firstly, the guy who was talking, I think he does a bit on Talk Sport as well.
Yeah.
How I have no idea. The geezer's the biggest clueless. I've listened to him, this geezer, on a number of occasions, and I've never heard so much nonsense that comes out of his mouth. So, and I think it was the same guy who, I think it was on this week's show that I watched it, and he was actually saying that he didn't feel that Eddie did that much, and if he scores 3 goals, and he should be expected to against Sheffield United. So this is the type of guy who that is the same guy who just spoke then about Emile Smith Rowe, and some absolutely brain dead idiot at Talk Sports going, oh, he knows his football. Let's get him on. Yeah. Absolutely brain dead. That's what I mean. I don't know how these people get employed. I have no idea how these people get employed. But I was thinking to myself, I really wish I was on that show. I would have absolutely destroyed him. But but no, no, mate. I mean, look. I mean, what was the beginning? What did he actually say at the beginning? Because I missed the beginning.
Look, I'll play the start of it.
Probably picked that fixture, and I just don't think James is right. He wasn't bad. He wasn't giving the ball away, and he got sent off. It wasn't bad, but I just thought.
What he said is Mikel Arteta probably picked the fixture for Emile Smith Rowe because it was the Sheffield United game, an easier fixture where he could sort of make his mark in the game is what he's essentially saying. And he didn't step up.
No, I mean, I don't agree with that at all. I mean, look, Arsenal got a squad. We have to use. You have to use our players. What does he want? What does he want? Would he have been happy if Emil Smith Rowe came in against Man City and started in front of Martin Odegaard? He probably would have done his nut, right? And probably Arsenal fans would have gone, "Whoa, that's not right." Emil Smith Rowe's not there yet. Do you know what I mean? He's still coming back to fitness. He needs game time. And what do you do when someone gives you game time? When a game comes along and you play them, and that's what he did against Sheffield United. That's why Havertz played, and that's why Kiar played. I mean, who also had quite decent games as well. But this is what I mean. And now they're starting picking on Emil Smith Rowe. And for me, he had a great game. Not a great game. He had a good game. We've done a lot of, unseen work, I thought. I thought he wasn't like the Smith Rowe who we've been used to, say, when he was at his peak a few years ago, when he was at his full fitness, where we looked upon as the guy who would score goals, make goals. For me, he's played a different role, and that's what he did the weekend. And again, if you know your football, unlike the Pranny you just spoke there, right, then you would have recognised that. You look at the game, you look at Smith Rowe, you see what he did, and then you'll come off and say, yeah, you did well. He got his assist. I think that's a poor take to say that, just because we're playing Sheffield United, he that's the reason why he plays. That's disgusting. That's awful. Do you know what I mean? And I think, I don't know. It's wrong for me. I don't agree with it, which ain't surprising coming out of his mouth. But it's poor. It's poor.
Yeah.
You've got to give these players game times, haven't you? You can go back with all the top. You can go back to Man Cities and Liverpool's and that. There's players on the benches where you think, don't. I mean, look at Jota, for instance. Liverpool, he hardly gets the time. Gakpo, they sit on the bench a lot. But Arsenal fans will have to find something. You got a 5-0 win. It's a good win. Some of the top teams in the Premier League have struggled against Sheffield United this season. We put them to the sword, and you get people like Eden who comes on and says this about Emil Smith Rowe. He comes on, right? He has a go at Eddie Nketiah. Thinks that, well, I'm not going to praise him too much because it's Sheffield United and that's what he's meant to do. What's going to happen if he never scored? What he's supposed to do? What is the guy? Some certain players can't do no right. Eddie Nketiah with certain players, he's had this guy's here. I tell you that with Emil Smith Rowe and Eddie Nketiah, I guarantee this guy's got an agenda with them. Yeah, and no matter what they do or what they play, you'll want to find something, negative, in what they've done. Which is sad, which is poor,
What I didn't like is the fact that he used Eddie Nketiah as the example to say we should be talking like this about Eddie, like Emil Smith Rowe, like we are Eddie Nketiah, because it was only probably about 2-3 weeks ago that they were talking about Eddie Nketiah in a disparaging way, saying he's not good enough for this team. He needs to step up. He's not doing it. We need a 20-goal season striker. It's just you're always pointing at someone else who only a few weeks prior you were saying they're not good enough. You did it the same with Fabio Vieira and Havertz. Look at what Fabio Vieira. This is what we expect of Havertz. Well, Fabio Vieira weren't doing that last season, but now all of a sudden this is what you're expecting of that. Give players time. Players react in different ways. Even Gabriel Jesus, after being out for a while, takes time to get back into the swing of things. And he's had more game time in recent months than Emil Smith Rowe. Same with Zinchenko. When he comes back in, you can always guarantee Zinchenko will have a shaky game in the first game. Then he plays himself back in. It happens. This is the game where Emil Smith Rowe wanted to play himself in. And rather than take risks, he probably thought, I'm going to keep it simple. That Emil Smith Rowe will get more confident as games go on and he gets more game time and he will make a difference. And especially what it really winds me up, especially when we do it with our Highland boys, with our youngsters. Like this is your expectations that you're pinning on Emil Smith Rowe and Emil Smith Rowe from 2 years ago. That Emil Smith Rowe hasn't played in 18 months.
No.
In 18 months, other players have progressed and got better than where they were at Emil Smith Rowe's level before. So they've surpassed him. Players like Martinelli, players like Saka. When at one point they were all on a level. So what are you expecting? Emil Smith Rowe to be out for 18 months, see everyone else progress, and Emil Smith Rowe come and jump straight back into the level where everyone else is? Like, wake up. Use your brain, people.
They don't.
Give these guys time.
No, they can't.
It's so reactionary.
Yeah, they don't. And it is frustrating. And I don't know what and it's not even as if Emil Smith Rowe had a bad game. He never had a bad game. You know, he did well. You know, I thought he had a really good game. Like I said, he got the assist and he grew into the game and he did a lot of the dirty work. You know, and look, if Sheffield Wednesday, you know, have got anything about them, right? It's the fact that they get about you. Do you know what I mean? They get stuck in. They're tough. Do you know what I mean? They've just come up from the Championship, which is probably the hardest league, you know, one of the hardest leagues in Europe. Do you know what I mean? They're not a weak side. Do you know what I mean? And Smith Rowe did well against them. Like I said on the post-match, he was getting his tackles in. But again, you do get these fans, and do you know what I mean? You know, this guy actually gets paid for talking football, and it's a disgrace. It's criminal that the people like that get paid, you know, for talking football. It's ridiculous. And look, again, it's, you know, talking about Eddie. Again, he did all right. He was all right, weren't he? What do you mean he did all right? He's got he scored an hat-trick. He scored 3 goals. They weren't just 3 goals. They were 3 absolutely outstanding goals. I still get Tony in though. I still get Tony in. I still get Tony in. I still could get Tony in.
So who's playing? Who's playing? And they tell me, these same people, if you get Tony, will tell me that Gabriel Jesus is going to play on the wing. So who's being dropped?
Martinelli.
Come on, wake up. Wake up. You're dropping Martinelli. So you're dropping Gabriel Jesus for Ivan Toney. Get out of here. Get out of here. You're changing the way we play.
But exactly. But that's where the knowledge part comes in. See, me and you, we think, right, okay, Tony comes in. All right, let's have
rapid balls into the box.
We'll have that a minute. We'll have that. We'll go with that. Okay, so Tony comes in. So what do? How are we going to play? Well, what's going to happen to Jesus? Well, they're going to put him out on the wing because Tony can only play down the middle. Okay, so Jesus plays out on the wing. So Martinelli's gone. But then okay, or he's dropped, or Martinelli's on the bench. So what happens to Nketiah? Does that mean we sell him? You know, he's on a contract. You know, it doesn't. None of these things fit. Yeah. And this is what I'm talking about. This guy talks on Talk Sport. I mean, the only thing he can talk is shit. That's it. Talk shit. That's what he should be on. Should be a new radio station called Talk Shit. Right, and this geezer should be on it because they do not think their knowledge of football is just not there. They haven't got one, and they just spout crap out their mouths without thinking. And yeah, look, I love Eddie. Eddie and Emil, they've got big roles to play this season, and I can see him. And Eddie's getting better and better and better all the time. You know, it's not like he signed this big £100,000 a week contract and thought, right, not like a certain Mr. Rashford, who since he signed his contract seems to be going backwards. Eddie signed his contract and he's just getting, for us, we're seeing things from Eddie that we've never seen before. He's going up levels. You know, he's getting better and better. Mm-hmm. He's only going to get better. So you got to give him his props.
You're right, Steve.
Don't know. Did that come across the right bit then? I'm not well, people. I'm not well.
He's holding in there. He's doing well, Steve. You're doing well.
I'm holding it up.
You're holding it strong. Although it was Sheffield United, it was a 5-0 victory, clean sheet. Is that a statement victory?
Yeah, I think so. We've already said about how we played against. Our other top teams have played against Sheffield United and struggled this year. Man United, Man City, and Spurs have all struggled against Sheffield United. For us to go there and literally on the weekend and absolutely hammer them 5-0, I think that's a fantastic statement victory. And the good thing as well, we seem to be getting better and better as time goes on. The way we're playing is better, and people keep saying, "Oh, it's Sheffield Wednesday." Yeah, but I know we got 5, but it's Sheffield Wednesday, and all this. I'm fed up with this. I've heard this for years now. Yeah, but look at the opposition. But what about when Man City beat them 2-1 and then scored in the last 5 minutes? Was there anybody having a go at Man City, or when Tottenham scored in the last seconds of the game? Was they? When they come back when Sheffield United equalised, didn't they? Were they coming back? I mean, Sheffield United could have come up against Man City and got a draw right at the death. They missed an open goal.
Mm-hmm.
But so, of course, it's a statement history. But it's Arsenal, isn't it? And it's Arsenal fans. As much as I love them, most of them, they tend not to think sometimes, like all fans, I suppose. But definitely a statement victory. We played a few. What some would call fringe players who needed some game time, and they stood up and they did well, and that's what you want to see. When your main striker gets injured, your second one comes in and scores hat-trick, but we're not supposed to give him any credit. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, two players that didn't get credit in the game, won 5-0 is Emil Smith Rowe and Kai Havertz, but you can't say that Declan Rice ran that midfield on his own. There's things that other players are doing off the ball that contribute to those goals going in. And let's not forget that Emil Smith Rowe did get an assist, albeit from the absolute wonder strike that Eddie had from outside the box. But still, it's an assist, and it will do his confidence well as well, because an assist is assist at the end of the day. And it's funny how people don't look at the actual. Yeah, people don't look at what the assists are when they point out that so and so got so many goal contributions in the season. They're not looking at, that was the assist again. No, they're just seeing it as an assist.
But if Saka did that, it'd be, Saka got assist.
Yeah.
As Starboy.
But the thing is, if you actually look at the ball that Smith Rowe did to Eddie, it wasn't just a pass, it was the typical Smith Rowe outside of the boot. He's on the run, he's looking for the 1-2. And he's just gone and turned around and spanked it in the top bins. But it was still remnants of what Emil Smith Rowe could do, and he was playing himself into the game. I just think that people were a bit too harsh. I know I've gone back onto the Smith Rowe thing, but it's just, I just think.
But the thing is as well, everybody's calling out for Smith Rowe to play, aren't they? They was all calling him out.
Yeah,
Let's play Smith Rowe.
I'm worried. Play Smith Rowe. Vieira, Smith Rowe.
Yeah, and when he plays, you get idiots coating him off for needlessly for something that he's not even done. He's had a decent game. He's got an assist. Why do you do that?
People just want to talk. People just want to talk. A player who what's going on here? I don't know what this is. It's frozen. A player that have I frozen? Have I frozen?
Yeah, you have. Yeah,
I have frozen. Yeah. Why is it frozen? Oh no! Is it going to kick me out? All right.
Martin Odegaard's frozen.
Martin Odegaard's omission from the game. Mikel Arteta said they looked at a few injuries. They looked at the minutes that he'd been playing recently, and he's had a niggling injury. He's not been playing at full fitness. He's been uncomfortable in games a little bit, so that's why he didn't play. Obviously, it's going to spark a few conversations, but the reason why Odegaard didn't play is because he had minor injuries, and it kind of rings true in some of his recent performances. So maybe again another player that people should probably let off a bit, because over the past week or so, Martin Odegaard has been attacked from every single section of the media with talk of he doesn't turn up in big games, whatnot. It's just another attack. And even some Arsenal fans themselves as well saying that he doesn't turn up in big games. One of them, I won't mention his name, but he called him Casper the Friendly Ghost. I just don't understand for some people.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere.
20 plus goal contributions last season from midfield, and he called him Casper the Ghost.
Mate, I don't know. Look, you know, we've said in the last few, he ain't been right, but last few weeks, but he's certainly got credit in the bank, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? It's not like
100%.
all of a sudden it's let's get on Martin Odegaard's back. He's last season, like you already said there, what was it, 15 goals, God knows how many assists. He was right up there with player of the season last year. Probably apart from De Bruyne, he was on the verge of team of the year, wasn't he? I don't know if he even got in it. I don't know, but he was certainly in people's minds. So, and then in the eight games at the beginning of this season where he hasn't up to the standards of last season because we now know he's an injury. Again, people decide to get on his back, and I don't know why people do it. I really don't. I've never had any qualms about him coming. That he's going to get back to his form again. I mean, class is permanent, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Form is temporary, and that will be the case with Martin Odegaard. He's played a lot of football. And he's had a few off games. So yeah, I mean, it just seems to be par of the course with Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, he's a quality footballer. He's our captain. I've also heard like people say, "Oh, Declan Rice, he'll be the next captain, and we should it won't be a few months' time before the end of the season now, or the start of next season, and Declan Rice will be coming into, to wear the armband." And look, Declan Rice does his talking on the pitch. We don't, Arsenal fan, we don't need him to be a captain. We don't need Declan Rice to be a captain. He leads by example on the football pitch. And if people think that Mikel Arteta is the type of manager who's going to come in and go to Martin, here, Martin, we're going to take you, the armband off of you and giving it to Declan, then I don't know, these people would be more stupider than they actually look, because that's not happening. So anybody who thinks that Declan Rice is going to be Arsenal captain anytime soon, for me, you're just wasting your breath, wasting your time for waiting for it to happen, because Arteta's not that type of manager. For one, I don't think that Odegaard deserves to have the captaincy taken off of him. And I think it's, again, just a subject that's been brought up in the media to spark off a debate. But again, it's a debate that simply won't happen. I can't see Declan Rice being Arsenal captain unless Odegaard leaves, because he ain't the type of thing Mikel Arteta does. Is he back? Is he back? He's struggling. He's struggling. Struggling a little bit. Maybe he's struggling as much as maybe he's come out in sympathy for Chelsea and Man United. Maybe that's what Kieran's doing at the moment. He's struggling to get to get back with us. But yeah, look. Hopefully he'll be back with us soon. But yeah, look. I mean, another thing, the reason why Odegaard's form may have dropped off a little bit this season is because of that. Arsenal are trying a different way of playing, and maybe Martin is trying to get used to that, like maybe Bukayo Saka is getting used to that. I'm sure, maybe Saka would be getting dropped or not dropped or rested if we had actually someone to play in that position where Saka plays in over there on the right hand side, but Arsenal haven't got one, so Saka gets nothing to play more often, and I think that's you're going to see that for quite a long time now. But in Odegaard's position, you've got Havertz there, you've got Emil Smith Rowe there, you've got Fabio Vieira there, who can all give Odegaard a rest. So if that's the case, and that's why you have a squad, give players rests, and if he sounds like he has got a knock, then bring one of them in. And I know some are saying that Smith Rowe and Havertz had quiet games, but for me, they deputised for Martin extremely well. So for me, not an issue. Just people trying to draw up nonsense again as usual. But look, Arsenal sitting top of the, no, not top, second in the league behind them at the moment. Names we won't mention, but look, it's been a great start to the season. So I wouldn't be worrying too much at all about people trying to find faults in players like Emil Smith Rowe and Kai Havertz and even Bukayo Saka to a point. But like I said, Odegaard's fine. Forget the captaincy, getting rid of that. I don't like that conversation, and Arteta won't do it anyway.
I don't get that debate. The debate, it lacks class.
Yeah.
What the first time that you're seeing a player who was absolutely outstanding, a player who, in conversations last season, was in the same conversation as Kevin De Bruyne, one of the greatest players to ever step foot in the Premier League, was in that conversation. Not saying he's as good a player, but on form. Last season, he was in a conversation with Kevin De Bruyne. The first time he's in a bad bit of form, you're talking about losing the captaincy. He's because Declan Rice runs around. Like, Declan Rice isn't even in the captaincy group. That's how far removed that you are from Mikel Arteta's way of thinking right now.
Exactly. That's where they
bring
are.
in a player, yes, Declan Rice displays all the leadership qualities you want in a captain. However, he doesn't need to be captain to still display those leadership qualities. And Mikel Arteta is well aware of that. He's also well aware that there's a hierarchy. And right now, you can't just bring in Declan Rice and shifting other players out who would be seen as captains. Players like Gabriel Magalhaes as well. A player who's grown massively in leadership, is seen amongst the squad as a vocal figure. You watch him around training, he's like a big brother, grabs older people, gets them in. He's old school. I love that about him. So stop being so quick to shift people's as captain. Oh, my captain. It's a nonsense talk. It's absolute nonsense talk. One thing we're about to go into the West Ham preview. Apologies for my absence. Internet for some reason decided to pack in, but it's back now. Declan Rice is, Mikel Arteta says Declan Rice is probably likely to feature in the game against West Ham. What role do you think he should play against West Ham tomorrow? And what do you think they expect their reception to be from the West Ham fans, Declan Rice?
Yeah, I mean, I talk to a lot of West Ham fans daily, in fact. But I think he's going to get a great reception. Right? I mean, I don't think I haven't got no doubt about that. Whether he'll start or not, I don't know. But look, what he done at West Ham, he's a West Ham legend. He if it wasn't for him last season, I don't think they probably would have won the trophy that they did. I think West Ham fans recognise that. He's the only was it Billy Bonds and Bobby Moore, the only two players to lift a trophy along with Declan Rice. And West Ham fans, although like a couple of them are saying, "Oh, we don't need him, we got this, that, and that," 80-90% of them, sort of, we'll always look at Declan Rice as a legend. And I'm looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to seeing Rice play. And as far as the role goes, if he starts, then it's an awkward one, really, isn't it? Because you're looking at you start to think of it now, especially with now Thomas Partey out the side. You start to look at the side, and you think that we look a little bit short in that midfield, don't we?
Yeah.
Because you think
you're playing starters now, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe give El Neni a start. Maybe, play El Neni. Havertz, Smith Rowe, or something like that. Because, look, we've got a big game on the weekend. So, although I want to win it, I'll be very disappointed if we don't win it. I want to win this. I know it's the League Cup, but it's a game of football. It's Arsenal. There's a trophy at stake, and I want to win it.
Mikel Arteta said he's essentially he's unaffected by the up and coming game against Newcastle, and emphasises the focus on beating West Ham in the League Cup without considering subsequent match. So he's fully focused. But how does Mikel Arteta balance the team selection between the League Cup and the up and coming game against against Newcastle on Sunday?
I think he'll keep it pretty close to the team that started against the weekend against Sheffield United. I mean, just obviously bring Ramsdale in. That's obviously. I've got a team select here, Steve. So
let's pick the team in goal.
Ramsdale. I'll play Ramsdale. Yeah.
Let's start off with your centre back pairing.
Centre back pairing.
Sorry. I've actually got the team selector here. There we go.
All right, that's it.
Centre back pairing. So there's your selection. You go right centre back.
Right centre back. I would go with Ben White playing the centre back position.
Yeah.
And I think definitely Kior.
Jakob Kior in left centre back. At right back.
Right back. I'd bring in Tomiyasu,
and in at left back.
Left back. It'd have to be Zinchenko, wouldn't it?
Zinchenko is a strong defence. What formation are you going? That's currently what we're playing at the moment. We're probably playing with two.
Yeah.
Probably
we played three, didn't we, across the middle, and they sort of like the three sort of like alternate, didn't they, between the three of them? They don't sort of stay to. It's just we sort of play just like a midfield three, don't we, these days? Yeah. which I think we'll if it was me, I'd probably play El Neni as the DM. Thought he done quite well when he come on.
Yeah.
Then I would play Smith Rowe. And also I'd play Kai Havertz.
Yeah, Kai Havertz. Yep.
And then Reece Nelson on the right.
Reece Nelson. Oh, there he is on the right.
Again, we've not got much. Trossard. And Nketiah.
And Eddie Nketiah up top. It's a strong side. Arteta, let me just see what Arteta said about Eddie Nketiah, because I think he did obviously acknowledge that he needs to balance his time. He said he needs to balance. He acknowledged that balancing Eddie's minutes to manage his form and fitness. Arteta plans to manage Eddie's playing time to keep him fresh, whether that's a start or a substitute. How does he manage it? Because it is a tough one. Because if Eddie goes out, you're left with Havertz up front.
We've got sort of like options where how we can go ahead with that. We could put Eddie, sit him on the bench because I say he's got. I know he's saying he's not looking at Newcastle, but I'm sure he's got one eye on it.
I think otherwise he wouldn't have made them comments, innit?
No, exactly. So
if you start with Eddie on the bench, who do you play up top?
Trossard, maybe Trossard. Look, I don't think Arteta would do this, but it's something that I want to see, and I'm quite his Havertz on the right, because he's played there before. So I think he played there a lot at Leverkusen on that side.
Yeah,
and then we could play Reece Nelson on the left.
Okay.
And then we could bring Fabio Vieira into the middle. So we've got a midfield three of Elneny, Smith Rowe, and Vieira. I mean, I tell you what though,
I'd be tempted with that if I'm honest, just because Tomiyasu, for me, starts against Newcastle over Zinchenko.
Yes, a good shout. That's a really good shout.
Because
that's a great
he's been
shout.
Excellent recently. Defensively, they've got a very tricky front line. Isaac, Wilson, Anthony Turner. Gordon, sorry. Gordon. Kieran Trippier. There's a lot coming down the flanks. There's a lot that they drift. There's a lot. I think we need to be defensive. Not defensive, but I think we need to be smart in this. Like we were very calculated, very balanced last season when we played against Newcastle. And I think, did Zinchenko play in that one? He potentially even did play in that one. As when Jorginho had a really good game as well. But there's some players that I think need to maybe come on later on in the game. See how this goes. Bring on Declan Rice to say hello to fans. Maybe bring on Jorginho so he's got a little bit of something in his legs for the weekend. Maybe just bring on a few players that are going to play on the weekend a bit later on in the game to give them some minutes so that they've had a little bit of a run out and they're not going into the game flat. But
who'd you play on the right though? Who'd you play on the right though? Who'd you play as right back tomorrow?
Cedric. We're quite short. We're quite short in those positions at the moment. You definitely don't play Gabriel. You definitely don't play Saliba tomorrow. Ben White. If Ben White gets injured, you've got Tomiyasu to go right back. You've got Zinchenko to go left back.
Come on,
Tomiyasu goes injured. You've got Ben White that can go right back. So I suppose, but.
So you think play Zinchenko tomorrow? Play Zinchenko tomorrow at left back.
I think you play Zinchenko at left back tomorrow. Tomiyasu's the option, but just in the back of my mind, his previous injury record. Is this a game you want to risk him in?
Yeah,
considering he's been quite integral in our recent games. I don't know. But it's the option. There's an option there. We can play Tomiyasu there. Tomiyasu can come in there. Like I said, Ben White's there. If Tomiyasu gets injured, he's going to be the right back anyway.
Kivior can always move out to the left, can't he, as well, if
needed. But that's my team. That's my team for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And maybe bring on Eddie later on. I wouldn't even bother bringing Saka on later on. He doesn't need minutes. Maybe I'll definitely bring on Declan Rice later on just as a hello to the West Ham fans.
Yeah.
And I wanna go for every competition, but I still see the Carabao Cup as a competition where it's an opportunity to give the youngsters a game. It's an opportunity to get minutes. Take it seriously, like we always did, because we used to put out a young team in the Carabao Cup, but get to the latter stages. I remember many an Arsenal team where we've either got to the semi-finals or final. We got to a final one year with a young team and then changed the team because we got to a final. Like it was the same previous years where we got to semi-finals and quarterfinals. That was always with a young team, and I think it's a good way to bed in youngsters and give these players minutes because they should be hungry to play. They should be hungry to get minutes for us in these games.
I think West Ham will. I think West Ham will rest players as well. So
they will.
They won't go.
The Carabao Cup's not West Ham's cup. FA Cup would be slightly different, but the Carabao Cup is not their cup.
No.
I don't. From what I'm from memory, they've not got a good record in this cup.
Yeah, they'll probably bring Fabianski in goal. He'll play, and they'll probably bring in Danny Ings. They'll still stick him up front or something like that. Yeah, they'll mix it. They'll mix it up. Mix it up. So,
what's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I think we'll win. I think we'll win the game. I hope we win the game. I think we'll win 2-0.
Okay.
I think we'll win 2-0.
All right, 2-0 goal scorers.
Goal scorers. It's got to be Declan Rice, isn't it? He's going to score.
Mate. Oh, mate.
They always do. He does. You can just feel it, can't you? You know, he's just going to come back and he's going to score a goal. How many times in football does this happen?
And give it a knee slide.
Yeah, David. Can you imagine? Yeah. And who else?
He's going to be like, score a screamer and be like, put his hands up. Look, I'm going to go for, I think Arsenal will win tomorrow. And I don't think it'll be comfortable, but as Steve was saying, I think West Ham are going to put out a weakened squad. The Carabao Cup is not their cup. If it was the FA Cup, it would be different. And I'm going to go for I want to say 3-0, but I just thought that would be too much. I'm going to go for a 2-0 as well. And I think that I'm going to go for our unlikely lads, which is Emil Smith Rowe and Havertz to score goals because I would love them both to score goals just to give it up yours to a few people.
Oh, yeah. I would as well, yeah. I hope.
Yeah, Russ is saying
Havertz. I could really. Yeah, I hope Havertz.
Yeah, I just really do with them both having a properly good game. Just like, no doubt about it, this is a good game. And I don't want to hear nobody say, it's exactly what we expect from this is what 65 million. Like, just relax, people. Just take time, all right? That is all we have time for. Thank you for joining us.
But people moan.
They always do, Steve. They always do. We can't play them all.
Yeah, pleasure, mate. As always.
And how are you feeling now then?
Always feel better. You come speak. The missus, you know, she probably going to watch Bake Off tonight. You know, but
is it back on?
I think
it's back on.
Yeah.
All right,
like,
we're going to have to change the time of the show. I'm not missing Bake Off again. That's it. Show's over.
Yeah, I think it's. Mind you, should have had enough for making. It's all last.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
The weekend for the.
We won't talk about that. That's a conversation between me and you, Steve. All right, that is all we have time for. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for joining us, Russ, and everyone. If you are new to the show, make sure you press that like and subscribe. If you are a regular, make sure you press that share button and that like button. Make sure you catch us tomorrow for the post-match reaction of the Carabao Cup game against West Ham United. Hopefully, it's a great game. Hopefully, it's a solid victory for Arsenal. Make sure you catch us live. Peace out. Stay safe. And wash your hands.